I am William Turner, a man who has lived through many challenges in life. But there is no challenge more painful than discovering betrayal in the very home I call my sanctuary. The weekends before Christmas have always been a time when my family gathers together. But this year, everything changed. One afternoon, while I was sitting in the living room, I received a call from my daughter, Sophia. She was at school but had come home for the holiday break. "Dad, I need to use your computer for a bit." Mom's computer broke, Sophia said over the phone, her voice sounding a bit strange. "Sure, you can use the one in my office," I replied, not suspecting anything. That computer had been gathering dust for a long time, just a piece of furniture that caught my eye every time I entered the room. About an hour later, Sophia came back, her face full of confusion. She hurried into my room, put the computer on the table, and in a cold voice said, "Dad, do you know what Mom has been watching on her computer?" "What is this?" She stopped, looking at me as if she didn't know how to continue. I frowned, stood up, and took the computer from the table. I tried to remain calm as I looked at the screen, but what I saw made it impossible to stay still. A series of adult videos along with bizarre articles appeared on the screen. My eyes began to blur as I saw one of them. It was a video about how to control and dominate a husband. "Dad, why are you saving this stuff?" Sophia asked, her voice now filled with surprise, but also skepticism. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This wasn't my computer. This was Rachel's computer, my wife's, and I didn't understand why she would save these videos. It felt as though everything was being torn apart, and there was nothing I could do but keep watching to understand more. We found another folder, one containing emails Rachel had exchanged with someone named Mistress Violet. In it, Mistress Violet advised Rachel on how to turn me into a submissive husband, doing everything at her command without ever questioning her. Everything seemed to be planned in detail, from ordering me to do household chores to requesting that I endure insults and contempt without retaliation. Sophia looked at me, her face wrinkling in confusion. "Dad, did you know about this?" she asked, but I couldn't answer. The feeling at that moment was indescribable. Pain consumed me at every level. I looked at the screen, seeing the image of a wife I had loved for 18 years, but now, she was a woman I didn't recognize. She had changed, and I didn't know why. What do I do now? I asked myself, and all I could think was, I need to know the truth. I need to understand everything before I act. After discovering the strange videos and the undeniable emails, I couldn't sleep. My whole body was tense, as if something inside me was breaking. I felt like I was living in a horror movie, where every step I took led me to an unknown abyss. Rachel, the wife I had loved, the one who had been by my side for nearly 2 decades, now turned out to be someone completely different. When Sophia went back to school the next morning, I knew I had to take action. I needed to verify more information and understand what was going on. But I couldn't do it openly. If Rachel found out I was investigating, she would know I had uncovered her secret. I couldn't let her have a chance to hide. I needed to proceed slowly, cautiously, and I needed solid evidence. One evening, when Rachel was working late, I decided to start searching through the computers at home. I couldn't imagine that she had been hiding so many secrets from me. Rachel's office had always been a place I rarely paid attention to, as it was her private space. But today, it became the place where I needed to look. I carefully opened her laptop without making any noise. On the screen were unread notifications from online shopping services and work documents that Rachel was always busy with. But when I opened her email, what I found made my blood run cold. One of the emails I opened had the subject, "This plan could make everything better." Reading the next line, I couldn't believe my eyes. Rachel had been communicating with a person named Alex Carter, someone I had never heard of before. At first, the emails seemed ordinary, but when I opened a few older ones, I began to notice something. These emails weren't just about work, they were full of insinuations about intimate meetings. "We will meet this weekend, and I've prepared everything as agreed. You don't have to worry about anything," one email from Alex said. I couldn't continue reading. It felt like a huge shock had just hit me. How did I not see this before? The changes in how Rachel treated me, the distance, the nights she stayed late without any explanation, now, I understood it all. I continued digging through Rachel's emails, unable to stop, even though I knew I was invading her privacy. But I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to know everything. The more I searched, the more I felt myself being pulled into a dangerous game. One of the most important emails had the subject, "We need to prepare better for him." I didn't dare open it right away, but some part of me knew that this was the answer I needed. I couldn't let the doubt linger. I needed to face the truth. In this email, Rachel discusses with someone named Laura, a former friend of hers, about a detailed plan to control my life. They talk about how to make it so that I have no ability to resist, to become a submissive man, doing everything as required without any objection. "He always indulges you, Rachel. He won't resist. You just need to make him believe that it's the right thing to do. If he refuses to listen, you just need to threaten to leave him," Laura writes in an email. This isn't just ordinary infidelity. This is a deliberate plan to destroy not just love, but also the respect between us. I feel like I'm being pushed out of my own life. With what I had found, I had no choice but to act. I decided to continue my investigation, but this time, I needed help. I reached out to Samuel Hughes, a well-known divorce lawyer in the city, someone I knew could help me protect my rights and assets. Samuel was the only person I could trust not only to help me understand my rights, but also to advise me when facing a legal battle. Samuel took my case seriously. After hearing my story, he said, "William, you need to stay strong and make sure you don't allow yourself to be hurt any further. You have evidence, and from what I've heard, you can absolutely demand a fair division of assets. Your story could cause your wife serious trouble if it comes to light. But I don't just want a divorce. I want Rachel to understand that what she's done is unforgivable," I replied, my voice thick with rage. After meeting with Samuel, I became even more determined. I knew I wasn't just facing emotional betrayal, but also a battle full of strategy. I decided I had to confront Rachel directly, but in a way she never expected. I began to act like the submissive husband, just as she had planned. I accepted all her criticisms, did all the household chores without complaint. Each day that passed, I felt like I was swallowing poison, but I knew I had to do this to trap Rachel in a snare. A week later, Rachel began to feel that she could control me easily. She began demanding more and more, not even caring about my feelings. I could see the self-satisfaction in her eyes. But I didn't let her know that I knew everything. I just kept doing everything she asked. Finally, the moment I had been waiting for came. One evening, when Rachel came home, I decided to bring everything into the light. She walked into the house with confidence, but this time, I wasn't going to let her slip away. When she talked about the changes she wanted to make, I interrupted. "Rachel, do you think you can deceive me without consequences? Do you think you can command me like I have no self-respect?" She stopped, her eyes wide with surprise. Her whole body tensed up. I knew she couldn't expect that I had discovered everything. I couldn't imagine what I was about to face now. Rachel had lived in a world she created, where I was the obedient man, easily accepting every demand and change she put forth. But I was no longer that man. Everything she thought I hadn't discovered had now become a wound I had to cut out. When she stepped into the living room, I was ready. It felt like everything had reached a point of no return. I looked into Rachel's eyes, the eyes I had loved, but now they were just foreign to me. She didn't know that I had uncovered everything, that I knew about the secrets, the scheme she had hidden for so long. William, are you listening to me? All I want is for us to change, to make our lives more exciting. Rachel spoke in a confident tone, as if nothing had happened. I looked at her, the anger rising in me with each passing second. More exciting? I asked coldly. So what about deceiving me, pushing me into a situation where I can't breathe, just to please yourself? Rachel flinched, but she tried to hide her worry. You know, I didn't mean anything bad. It's just... She stopped, trying to find a reasonable excuse, but I didn't let her have that opportunity. I've seen everything you've done. The videos, the emails, the conversations with another man. You think I'm not smart enough to notice? I said, each word cutting into her heart, each sentence sinking in like betrayal. She froze, her face paling, the confidence she had quickly vanishing. William, you can't do this to me, Rachel said, unable to hide the panic in her voice. So what do you think I'm going to do? I responded, my voice still calm but menacing. You probably think I'll just stand by and let you continue destroying my life without doing anything, right? Rachel took a step back, as if afraid I might do something. She didn't know that I had prepared everything, that I had mapped out all the steps I needed to take to bring her face to face with the truth. I had met with a lawyer, I had gathered all the evidence, and now it was time for her to confront what she had done. I pulled my phone from my pocket and dialed Alex Carter's number. The man I had just discovered was secretly seeing Rachel. My voice didn't waver as I called him. Hello, Alex. I think we need to talk for a moment, I said over the phone, unable to hide the coldness in my voice. I heard a bit of hesitation from the other side, but before he could say anything, I put the call on speaker. Rachel stood frozen, her eyes wide open, looking at me as if she couldn't believe what was happening. Who are you talking to? She asked, panic evident in her voice. I didn't answer, I just continued the call. Can you explain this relationship to me, Alex? The one Rachel thought was a secret that couldn't be uncovered? I asked bluntly. On the other end of the line, Alex hesitated but couldn't deny it. William, I don't know what to say. I was wrong, he admitted, and it felt like a knife piercing Rachel's heart. Rachel stood still, her eyes shifting from panic to stiffness. I could see her collapse right before my eyes. Everything was exposed. She had no place to hide anymore. I don't understand why you're doing this to me, William. Rachel began to cry. I was wrong, but I didn't think you'd react like this. But I felt no sympathy. I was too tired of all the lies and the betrayal. Don't say anything more. You've betrayed me, not just with one man, but with everything we've built together for the last 18 years. After the call with Alex, I didn't allow myself to hesitate. I needed to end everything, once and for all. No more opportunities for deception, no more room for forgiveness. Rachel, you've hurt me too much, I continued, my voice now full of seriousness and strength. Now is the time to talk about the consequences. Do you want to continue this marriage, or do you want to end it all? She lowered her head, not daring to look at me, as if she realized there was no way back. The words she had said, the promises of change, now meant nothing. I can't continue living like this. You'll have to pay for everything, I said, making a final decision. We're getting a divorce. Rachel broke down in tears. William, I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix this mistake. But I was too tired of apologies. To me, this betrayal was unforgivable. The price she had to pay was not just for a divorce, but for the destruction of everything she had built. She would face unavoidable legal, financial, and social consequences. Everything quickly escalated. Rachel tried every way to convince me to take her back, but I had no feelings left for her. The pain had been enough. I couldn't keep enduring this betrayal. I contacted my lawyer and began the divorce proceedings. The consequences Rachel had to face were inevitable. I demanded a fair division of assets, including ownership of the house and a large portion of her wealth. Rachel's company, the one she always took pride in, would face a strict revaluation, and it might have to be sold to pay off debts. I was no longer the weak man. Everything I had gone through had made me stronger. I had won, not because I wanted revenge, but because I wouldn't allow myself to be defeated by deceit. In the end, Rachel left, carrying her tears of regret, but it was too late. This story ended with me standing firm in my decision, and the important lessons learned from this betrayal. Respect yourself. Never let anyone take advantage of your kindness. When you recognize injustice, stand up for yourself, whether in love or in life. Stay true to yourself, even if life places you in difficult situations. Never lose faith in yourself. Stand up, take control of your life, and don't let anyone destroy your self-worth. I can't change the past, but I can decide my future. And that is the most important thing.